Hi guys, and welcome back to another Let's Build episode. So last time we were planning the next district of Lordsport, and in this episode we're going to be building the city walls for this area and also chatting about the comments that you posted on the last episode. Now if you guys are new to the channel at all, we do a lot of tutorials and time lapses just like this one, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also guys, if you're new to the series at all, I'll leave a link in the card above as well as in the full description to not only the Let's Build Lordsport series, which is this one right now, but also my full Let's Build Pataria series as we build this entire world. So guys, this is the large area that we've got. We kind of chatted about it quite a lot last episode, but what I needed to do is actually do a little bit of landscaping. When I was looking at it, you know, we had this almost half beach thing going on here, and I wanted to really make that into a bit of a hill. So that was the first kind of bit to do, and then the next part of this is going to be doing some planning, because we do need to get quite a bit of planning done and kind of sort all of that out. So yeah, last episode guys, I asked you for lots of ideas on what a name for the actual district could be, and the one I've gone with is from Oscar Schwartz, and that is Smithshaven. What I really like about this name, and the reason I went for it, is it's going to be an industrial area, this one. So we're going to have, we're going to have smithing, we're going to have, tailors, we're going to have those kind of things. Lots of different stuff. I'm going to talk about that later in this episode. But I liked that it's got smith in the name. That could be quite a core component of it. But also haven, which, because we've got lots of these little coves, these two coves on there, that kind of works. So Smithshaven is going to be the name of this entire district. And one of the other comments that I kind of picked up on, which I really liked, and this is going to be actually the lore for this district and another part of why it was named Smithshaven, is from Joshy Washy, who actually gave a really cool story about an old Dwarven Forge being in this district. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to build a Dwarven Forge in this district, and it's going to be quite large, kind of really big, maybe even like a manufactory type thing. I think we'll see how it goes as we start building. But the rough lore behind this being that a loose band of dwarves had travelled here to establish trade and business, but they weren't allowed to actually live within the city walls. So East Point, which was the old city, that would have been the old boundary of it, so they had to settle elsewhere, and actually they settled outside here in this district, which is Smithshaven. I love these two. I love how they actually kind of fit together and add lots to the world. So the next kind of big thing that you guys were commenting about is about the university. So yeah, the university, you're right guys, this is why I wanted, after doing the plan, to ask you guys about your thoughts on it, so that if I do something silly or stupid, you guys can correct me, and you did really well with that. So yeah, we're going to move the university. It doesn't make sense it actually being in this kind of area, in the industry area. You think about universities, you think about highly educated, and then highly paid potentially out of that, people that can send them to this university. It's not going to be the people that are going to be working in these kind of factories in these kind of areas. So we're going to move the university into the actual noble district. That makes a lot more sense. And yeah, thank you guys for all of your comments on that. As soon as I started seeing them come through, I just thought, yeah, you guys are right. That's it. I'm going to change it. So yeah, we'll move the university instead. We could potentially, with that spot that I had planned for it, that might be where we actually have the Dwarven Mega Forge, the Dwarven Forge. We can have that in there in its place. So on to some of the ideas that you guys have given me from the last episode. So one in particular from Niz for Night Owl I thought was really good, because it had, well, just had loads in it really, which I quite liked. So having, carpenters, wheelwrights, masons, having, large storage areas for stone and wood. We actually haven't got any really for stone or even wood actually. We've got little stores here and there, but nothing big enough for the actual amount of firewood that would be needed for this kind of city. But also having bakeries and tailors and weavers, those kind of things, as well as a larger marketplace. I also quite like the idea of this pupils kind of commune where the students and apprentices would gather. So actually having, since it's going to have lots of industry in here, you'd have quite a lot of apprentices in there. So making sure we've actually got areas where these apprentices would hang out, where they'd go, and where they would also live, whether those are in these kind of like larger communal areas where they're all in there together. We'll kind of have a look at that as we start building up Smithshaven. Another really good comment that I really want to point out is by Josh Sevener, and this is just to do with the general kind of building scale to make these kind of industrial buildings more grayscale. And now that I've kind of upgraded the server, I can finally actually get use of or start making use of the new blocks that we've got. The slates are really good, so I am definitely going to do that. So we get more of a kind of dull-looking area for those kind of older buildings and the kind of industrial buildings are going to look industrial. I think that's really quite key, and actually kind of change that kind of feeling, so you kind of get that run down and more industrial feel to this portion of the city. But what I need to do, of course, is to actually blend that, so it's going to be quite cool to start doing that and mixing that in. A lot of the other really good comments that you guys put on the last episode was to do with how we're actually going to power this medieval industry. Of course, what you guys pointed out was absolutely true, which is a lot of it would be water powered, especially for like grindstone type things, making cutlery, even bigger furnaces, and making sure that they're actually blowing air into it constantly might actually be from a water wheel and things like that. Of course, this district does not have access to kind of fresh flowing water really, so we've got a couple different choices. One of them that I thought was quite good was from Jason Kinnott, which was to put some windmills near the coast. Of course, because it is near the coast, we should be getting a pretty good breeze all the way through, so we can start using some windmills to do the wind power side of it for some of those. But potentially also we could have some water being brought up, so you're gonna have to have another machine, whether that's windmill powered to actually bring water up from the ocean, and then actually have that streaming down. But then there's the question about whether that would actually cause anything to break down, because of course salt water can be quite corrosive. So we got a couple of different ideas, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on how we actually go about doing that. That'd be really good. We can of course also have a spring potentially on part of the hill. That's another option that we could actually go with. So there's a couple of different things that we can do, or even having animal power. There's loads of different options, but it was really good to see your comments on that, and then we can see what we can actually do to sort that out. So anyway, going back to finally the stuff that's actually in this episode, we've been building up quite a lot of the towers and things like that, and I'm actually working on right now a lighthouse, because I really wanted to do a lighthouse. But when I was looking at it, I wanted it to still be quite tower-like and look more like a bastion on this rock, so it's almost like a little mini fort or something like that. So that's what we've got there, and I wanted it to be in keeping with the same style as the towers, but had a little bit more embellishment, a little bit more flair, and that's why I've gone with the way that it looks. It sticks out, it's got more arches in there, so it looks a little bit more fancy, and also of course having the dark slate roof, so it actually stands apart from the rest of those towers. You can then tell it's different. But here is the full build, guys. It actually took me a very long time. It was about 16 to 20 hours to build all the towers and the walls, do all the detail and all of those kind of things. It's crazy how long it takes. But if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to comment, like and subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll see you on the next one.